Get your body yaddy yaddy into a movie theater for Bodies, Bodies, Bodies from A24 opening today.
This is a very sharp and sexy and snarky satire with a pretty great cast.
Who wants to play Bodies, Bodies, Bodies?
So how do you play?
And it all takes place over the course of like one night, like one weekend, one night at this sprawling, like ridiculously palatial estate. I think it's somewhere in upstate New York. A bunch of people have gone there. A bunch of like wealthy and beautiful and vapid 20-somethings have gone there to ride out a giant storm that's coming. This hurricane is coming. And rather than be safe, they decide this is a great opportunity to get hammered all weekend long and just obliterate themselves and like shut out the potential danger of it. And what happens is that this place ends up becoming a crucible for who they all actually are and what they all actually think about each other. They play this game called Bodies, 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 which is kind of, Alonso, like the Jack the Ripper game they play on episode 5 of Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah, totally. I mean, somebody in the movie even refers to it as werewolf, or it's mafia, or it's, it's that game where you turn the lights off and if you get hit, you're dead. And
right. Everyone gets a piece of paper and one of them has an X on it. And
right.
so that person's the killer. And then if you get tapped on the shoulder, you die, and everyone doubts each other. So what we've learned from these people is that they have played this game before and it is fraught with emotional peril. But as we see, actual physical peril ensues too. So among the people who were there, it's Pete Davidson's family's house. So he is there. Amandla Stenberg and Maria Bakalova are a new couple and they go there together. Amandla Stenberg's family is as wealthy as Pete Davidson's family is, and she is fresh out of rehab. And so it's a tricky high wire for her to walk too. Yeah. She's trying to be sober when her friends are all doing drugs all around her. You have Rachel. Is it Rachel Sennott? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, from
Shiva Baby. She's so good. And also Myha'la Herrold is there, another one of their longtime friends. And Lee Pace is there as the older boyfriend of Rachel Sennott. And so it's about how it all starts out as fun, and then they end up getting wasted and end up truly saying what they think about each other. And I thought it was so smart and so sharp and so bitchy and so fun. It is directed by Halina Reijn, written by Sarah DeLappe and Kristen Roupenian. And it really gets this contradiction, I think, that women in general feel about themselves and how they project themselves to the world, because all these women feel like they've got to be just the badass bitch at all times. And so they're playing these games and they're not just doing shots. They're also like smacking the shit out of each other and like dancing provocatively with each other. And it's all extreme and it's all intense all the time in a way that feels like a cover for who they really are and what really frightens them, for their own insecurities and their own vulnerabilities and their own authentic selves. Like they're all trying to put out their, just absolute badass bitch at all times. And what occurs over the course of this night slowly chips away at that. It's funny and sharp about class differences, but it's also a legitimately tense horror movie, and it will keep you guessing as far as what's actually happening here. And there are just some spectacular twists, and I dug it.
Yeah, it's fun. It is a fun sort of, I think also real satire about sort of zennials, because, everybody sort of has that vocabulary of, oh, you're so toxic. And, that all of the kind of like judgments you would see on Twitter about other people's behaviors, all the while, of course, everyone acting horribly.
They're
and
all
selfishly.
Total narcissists.
They're such narcissists, but they also, they use that lingo to try and like one up each other. I think it's a fun movie. I think is this a first feature for Halina Reijn?
I'm going to look. You keep talking.
Because I think if it is, then it's an impressive first feature. I think there were other directions they could have gone. I think the comedy could almost have been meaner, and maybe the house could have figured more into it, because like it's a sprawling house, as you say, but we don't get that always the sharpest sense of where we are in relation to everything else. And I think of like, say, Knives Out, where I think they do use that idea of the not just the architecture but the geography of where rooms are related to other rooms and that kind of thing in a way that really pays off. it almost feels like an expanded short film more than a feature, I think. But the performances are really strong. It's an amazing cast of young actors who were all, I think, I mean, Lee Pace obviously is a little older than everybody else, but like these are all folks who've already done really cool stuff, and I think are we're going to be seeing a lot more of in the next decade or so.
Maria Bakalova is really good in it. Like we've never seen her do something dramatic like this, and she's called upon to be our conduit. But also provide some mystery as to her true intentions.
Exactly. Yeah, she is our audience surrogate, but at the same time, she is a suspect. So yeah, no, there's a lot that I like about it. I'm glad I saw it. I had a good time. I think it's good enough that I was just hungry for it to be a little better. But I think that what's there is churse, and people will have a good time with it.
This is not her first film, by the way. She had done a lot of television and some other films too. But one thing that I thought felt very true was the Amandla Stenberg character is just coming out of rehab, and her friends are all such assholes that they take her absence as a slight, and they don't recognize that perhaps being around them is difficult because they're triggering, right?
Well, yeah, like they're all like coked up like crazy the whole movie
and wasted and just everything. But like they're standoffish to her when she first arrives.
Yeah,
because they're like, you blew us off. Where have you been? And they don't recognize that, like, maybe we are not helping her. Maybe we enabled her when she was still using, and she needs some time away to figure out who she is on her own without this.
On the other hand,
yeah. What was that?
I was gonna say, on the other hand, I think as the story progresses and people start getting, stop being polite and start getting real, if you will, it is clear that while she was using, she was a horrible person who did horrible things, and maybe she has not taken the amends step yet, because there seems to be a lot of resentment about shit that she pulled when she was high, that now that she's out of rehab, she still hasn't addressed with them.
Yes.
So I think both those things can be true, but I think that there is an element of like, you have not sufficiently like kind of copped to / apologized for all of this stuff,
Yeah, no, and I like that, like it judges all of them.
Oh yeah,
they're all horrible. Like it's not like one person is the good guy and everyone else is terrible. Like as it goes along, you realize that they all have
secrets
and just like
resentments,
a lot to explain for, and they've all made mistakes and all screwed one another over. So I dug it, and I had a lot of fun. The music is really fun. I'm saying 8.7.
I said 6.5. I think it's absolutely worth seeing. Again, I think it is good enough that it made me kind of like, oh, you're almost at the next place where it could have really been something super special. But I think it's good and it's fun, and people should check it out.